Good Friday morning, everyone. I am Mark Wagner, Certified Public Accountant, and wanted to give you a quick update on the latest news we have with the SBA's Paycheck Protection Program loans, the forgivable loans which were passed by Congress last Friday. We now have more guidance from the IRS and from the SBA, and I wanted to give you the latest updates. So here we go. To start with, we now have new guidance with how the loan amount is calculated. We had discussed on Sunday that it was 2.5 times your payroll costs. We now know more about what counts as payroll costs for the purposes of calculating the loan amount. In addition to actual pay for your employees, that's the salary and hourly wages, sick time, vacation time, holiday pay, anything that goes into their gross wages. You can also include state and local taxes assessed on this compensation. Typically, this is state unemployment. Some jurisdictions have things like a state workers' compensation fund that you pay into. Notice, however, that this does not say federal taxes. Your federal unemployment, your employer's portion of Social Security and Medicare cannot be included in your payroll costs, only the state and local taxes assessed. You also get to include benefits that the company pays for. If the company provides health insurance, for example, now I'm not talking about when the employee pays for the health insurance out of their paycheck, but if the employer provides health insurance coverage for the employee, that counts toward your total payroll cost, as well as any retirement benefits that you provide. A lot of small businesses have simple IRA plans, or maybe you have a 401k. Any employer contributions to these programs get included in your payroll costs. One other important point to note here is that your total wages paid, you only get to count the first $100,000 of compensation to the employee. People who make more than $100,000, you can only use $100,000 as the base for calculating your loan amount. The loan amount is still the same. It is 2.5 times your payroll costs. The main change here that I want to point out, though, is that you get to include the cost of employer-paid taxes as well as employer-paid fringe benefits as part of that payroll cost. That will increase the loan value that you're able to get. The other topic that everyone was very interested in on Sunday is how much of the loan will be forgiven. Now remember, the purpose of this loan is the government is trying to give small businesses money to keep paying their people. This is why the loan is being calculated at 2.5 times the average monthly payroll costs, because they want you to keep paying your people. They're trying to get the money into the hands of people who need it. In order to get the loan forgiven, on the tail end of the loan, you're going to have to document that you did in fact keep the same number of staff that you had when you started the program, and that you continued to pay salaries and wages. Now, one important difference here that we did not have on Sunday: if you do lose some employees, if some employees quit or they get sick or they have to stay home to take care of a sick relative, and your payroll dollars go down, they can go down by up to 25% without jeopardizing the forgiveness of your loan. However, you do have to rehire by the end of June. You're going to have to rehire. You're going to have the same number of employees on the payroll. So there's really two prongs here that they're measuring with regard to forgiveness. The first is that you're still paying 75% of your salaries, and the second is that you have the same number of people on the payroll. Note that it does not have to be the same employees. If an employee quits, you can hire a new employee. The measure here is that you have the same number of full-time equivalent employees on the payroll at the end of June. Okay. Again, as we discussed on Sunday, you will have to submit a request to your loan servicer for the forgiveness, and we're going to talk a little bit more about what you're going to have to provide. I've got some guidance from a couple of banks that I've been working with this past week, and I've got some good information there. One other thing, when we discussed on Sunday, the interest rate was up to 4%. the SBA came back and said, well, the interest rate is going to be 0.5%. That's a really, really good interest rate. Of course, banks went back to the SBA and said, hey, we can't staff up and service these loans for 0.5%. We're going to lose money. And I heard late last night that the SBA had agreed that they would double the interest rate from 0.5% to 1%. So as we're sitting here this morning, the interest rate on this loan will be 1%. Now, if the loan is forgiven, of course, your loan is 0%. It's just free money. But if you do have to spend the money on things other than your payroll, or if you have a number of employees that quit, if you're not able to get all of the loan forgiven, it converts into a regular SBA loan, and 1% again is a very good rate. Now, let's go back and talk for a minute about other things that you can use this loan for that will not jeopardize your loan forgiveness. Remember, you've only got to pay 75% of your salaries in order to maintain forgiveness, so that immediately frees up 25% of the loan amount that you can use for other obligations. The SBA has said that you can use the proceeds from these loans to cover interest on mortgage obligations. Now, this does not say principal on the mortgage loan. As we discussed, this is only for the interest, and it's only for mortgages. It doesn't apply to your credit card interest or your other bank loans or your car loans or whatever. Interest on mortgage obligations. You can also use this money to pay rent under lease agreements that were already in place by February 15, and for utilities. Now, on Sunday, we had also discussed that some other operating costs would be included in this, supplies and materials and those kinds of things. This latest guidance does not include those kinds of expenses. So again, you can cover your payroll costs and benefits and taxes, interest on mortgage obligations, rent, and utilities. Okay, so now we've covered how your loan amount is calculated. So how much loan can you get? What you're going to have to do to have the loan forgiven. What you can spend the money on if you're going to spend 25% of the loan amount on other operating costs, or if you have employees that quit and your payroll dollars go down. We've talked about the interest rate, that it converts to a regular SBA loan if part of it is not forgiven. So now the question is, how do I get one of these things? Okay. Well, as we discussed, you're going to have to go to an existing SBA 7A program lender. They're administering this program through the traditional SBA 7A small business loans. It would be best if you went to a bank you already have an existing relationship with. Let me tell you why. This program is first come, first served basis, and applications open today, April 3rd. So you want to get your application in as quick as possible. It's better if you can go to a banker that you know and you already have an existing relationship with. That's going to be a faster path. They already know you. They already have information about your business. They have information about you. They've already got all of this in their computer. That will greatly speed up the process, and given how many people are going to be looking for these loans, time is of the essence. However, there are a few things that you need to be prepared to take with you when you talk to the bank. And here's a list that I have received from one of the banks I've been working with this week. This is the list of the information they anticipate needing to process your loan application. Your 2019 940, 941, or 944 payroll tax reports, one for every quarter. You need to have your payroll documentation for the prior 12-month period, which shows gross wages for your employees, including your officers. If you paid them for time off, sick time, holiday time, vacation time, any family medical leave pay that you made, you just need to have all of the documentation for everything you've paid the employees for 12 months. Your state and local tax returns. Here in Texas, those are filed and paid quarterly. You need to have copies of those. Documentation showing all of your health insurance premiums paid by the company. I have had my companies I work with go and actually scan copies of their health insurance bills. You want to include all of your employees' even if they have been terminated, even if they are owners of the company. You want to get everybody on the list. And you also need to have documentation for retirement plan funding that was paid by the company. Again, this is hard to come up with, because the only thing you have sometimes is check copies. But come up with the spreadsheets or whatever calculations you use to determine the amounts and be able to go show that those amounts were actually in fact paid. Copies of canceled checks is always the ultimate proof. Okay. Now, again, as I said, this is going to be first come, first serve. Applications open today. Waste no time. Get thee to the bank if you want to try to get one of these loans. Get in front of your banker, let them know you're interested, let the process get started. You want to try to be at the front of the pack. I know that a lot of you guys I spoke with on Friday, you're already on the ball and you're ready to go with this, and that's good. So wanted to take a little time today to give you a quick update on what I've learned in the last week. Good luck with getting this loan. Good luck with getting it forgiven. Good luck with everything you're going through with your business in these times. I know it's hard. I'm getting hammered with people who are needing information for the SBA loan. They're needing to get their returns filed just to get their refunds moving. They're needing financial information to go to landlords and to go to banks and to try to get deferments and interest-only plans. A lot of people are really struggling. You're not alone. If there's anything that I can do for you, do not hesitate to give me a call, shoot me an email. I will do my best to try to take care of whatever you need. Again, I'm Mark Wagner, Certified Public Accountant here in the Dallas area. Self-quarantined in my home office, and I hope you guys have a good Friday.